What's up, everybody? Smith the Movie X Kicks, and as promised, this is going to be the review of The Last of Us Part 2 coming up right after this. So, yes, indeed. Now, this is going to be a review of The Last of Us Part 2. You're going to have to excuse me. I usually like to take notes or something like this because this was a very in-depth video game. But I'm really just going to freedom it and just kind of go off and tell you what I thought about the game, the plot, and kind of like the premise of everything. And I'm going to try to tie it all in together for you as best as I can. Now, this is going to be a non-spoiler review, so like there all will be spoilers. The game's been out for almost 2 weeks. A lot of people have pretty much beat it, so I'm not going to be doing the spoiler-free one. This is going to be spoilers, so if you guys haven't beat the game or kind of in the middle of the game, I'm going to be giving you what's about what the game is about, because this review will be kind of hard, and it won't be impossible to do without giving up all the stuff, but it would be kind of hard. So with that said, I'm just gonna get into it now. The Last of Us Part 2 takes place 4 years after The Last of Us Part 1, which originally came out. It came out 4 years in the game, but you know we all know the original came out in 2013, so it's been 7 years almost since the release, and it almost came out almost 7 years to the date, which was kind of crazy, even though the game has been pushed back several times. So, you know, it was released, if I'm not mistaken, June 14th of 2013. This one came out June 19th of 2020. So a lot of people didn't get that. And with this Last of Us 2 actually broke a record. It has the highest, it has the most number of downloads of any PS exclusive. So it had 4 million downloads, which surpassed Spider-Man. So good luck. Congratulations to Last of Us Part 2 for beating the record. And like I said, it takes place 4 years after the original. And in this world, we all know it's a crazy pandemic going on like we're in right now. But only this one has zombie and apocalypse and in a world of factions of different humans basically fighting for survival between the zombies and the different factions of humans. Now, in this one, we kind of almost didn't really know the plot of it. And I kind of understand why they didn't really kind of go in depth with the plot. And then because actually, if you guys remember on the Last of Us review that I did for the unboxing for this, they had a letter, and the letter kind of expressed, I'm going to get the letter again for you, about the game in the review. And then when I read this letter, and it kind of brought it back to me when I was playing the game. And I'm going to read the letter for you again. It says, what would you do if someone you loved was a victim of cruel and violent act? How easily would your mind go towards retribution? How far would you go to bring the people responsible to justice? If you were successful, how would it change you? Would you ever be the same? Basically, they go on to say, you know, with this, blah, 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 and the developers. But with that right there, that is a perfect example of what this kind of story emulates and tells the story of a story. It is a story of revenge. In the very beginning of The Last of Us Part 2, Ellie and Joel are kind of in a friction state because Joel told Ellie basically what happened in the Part 1, where she was basically, he took her from the Fireflies. As you know, she was the cure, but he killed everyone because in order to get the cure from her, they would have to kill her and, you know, go in her brain and basically to create a cure. And he basically told her that, you know, that the Fireflies, they didn't do anything, and you know, they'll end the story. But then in the Part 2 they have a bit of friction, because as you realize, as they go through flashbacks of the game, in one of the flashbacks, he tells her the truth of what really happens, and that becomes a friction point between them. But in the very kind of beginning of the game, they're on a, you know, as they go and do surveillance throughout the region, Joel and his brother Tommy are out on surveillance, and they run between a herd of zombies. They actually end up meeting a woman by the name of Abby, and Abby plays a significant large role in this game as well. They end up getting free to safety to Abby's hideout with her rest of her people, and Abby then takes revenge on Joel and ends up torturing and killing Joel, and Ellie tries to find them, and Ellie actually comes in while Joel is being tortured, and they end up killing Joel in the very beginning pretty much almost, I want to say, in the first 2 hours of the game, Joel dies. So, and that kind of spins, and they don't kill Ellie, but that spins Ellie in this circle of violence. Kind of what I read from the letter. They leave Ellie alive, and they go and they leave, and so she and her friend Dina basically embark on a journey to get revenge to kill Abby and everyone who helped take place into Joel's murder or death, if you will. And you kind of get that cycle of violence, and we've been kind of prone to love in the story with everyone. You just like, damn, like Ellie goes from from, remember in the first one, Ellie, it was Joel who did most of the killing, obviously, because Ellie was a child. But in this one, she's 19, she's an adult, and now she's like a little more elusive, and she's just as vicious as Joel, if not more vicious. Even though she's a smaller frame, she's more agile. So anytime she's fighting zombies or even people, you can now they've enacted a dodge button so you can move left and right and sway. And so like I love how the mechanics of the game have changed, like with the swaying and also with the prone, you can get on the ground and shoot people. So I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, you have to excuse me, but in the story, but in the midst of the story, you basically go from most of it all takes place in Seattle, and so she goes to Seattle to get revenge on Abby and her group. And the crazy part about it is, I was kind of confused on, in the very beginning of the game, you play as Abby in the very first, and I'm like, why are you playing as this random person? Like, I was very confused, and it kind of was upsetting me. But as the game progressed, you actually play as Abby more, and then you come to find out that Abby was the daughter of the doctor who Joel killed while trying to perform the surgery on Ellie from the game one. So that's why they came looking for Joel and her, really Joel, because she wanted revenge off what he did to her father. So I and like the I was like, the story started coming together, and I was just like, damn, I didn't see that one coming. But the crazy part about the game is that half the game you play with Ellie from day 1 to day 3 in Seattle, and then it flips over to Abby, and you get Abby's backstory from when her father died, from how her life is with the faction that she's with, and also you have another faction that you have to worry about called the Scars. And you have to see why Abby's group hates the Scars, and you do a whole 3-day mission with her as well as Ellie. So to be honest with you, I think a lot of people were confused and didn't really like that aspect of the game. But to me, I loved it. Like, I love getting those viewpoints of both these characters. And as much as these characters hate each other, they were one and the same. They were both vindictive. They both had a goal, and they want that goal to be met with viciousness. So, like, even though Abby got her justice for Joel killing, Abby got her revenge killing Joel, but with that, Ellie wanted her revenge from Joel's death. And basically Ellie's going the whole game trying to kill Abby, and Abby really didn't even know she was coming for her. And you get Abby's version of her basically fighting the Scars, and then her friends dying because of what Ellie's transgressions. And so these two actually collide, and Abby actually gets the best of Ellie twice. And and then she lets her go and says, go. And Ellie can't let it go because she's still having PTSD. And so you spend like the last part of the game going once again to seek revenge off Abby. And then almost like the last fight scene when you get to Abby and she almost kills Abby, but then she lets her go. But it's kind of crazy because how the ending ends. It's like Dina, who's her love interest in the game, tells her, don't leave. And if you leave, we're basically through. So it's crazy that she leaves and to kill Abby and doesn't kill her, even though she has a chance to. And then when she comes back home, she doesn't have Ellie and she doesn't have anything. She even loses her fingers. And so she went for revenge, didn't get revenge, or she didn't get the girl. But the crazy part is the cycle of violence that this game takes into a chord. And it's like, as much as you want to say that Ellie and Abby, they're one and the same because they were both vindictive people, and like basically you could. I started to almost kind of hate Ellie's side for the most part, and I was kind of more like in the fight scene at the end. Basically, you almost had to free Abby because she was captured by another militant group and she was strung up, and she could have killed her right then, but she let her go and she said we have to fight. And like kind of like at the end when she's almost about to kill her, she lets her go, and I'm like damn man, it suck if she dies right here because you played with this person for like half the game, and you kind of start getting a comfort level with this person. Like damn, like I know she gonna die, but she's not the main antagonist of the story. Ellie is. So when she doesn't kill her, I was kind of relieved. I liked the ending of the game, even though she didn't quote unquote get her justice. It was a right ending of the game to me. Like a lot of people have their opinions on the game of they didn't like the ending and how they didn't like how Joel was killed. But without that Joel's death, you wouldn't have that fear, that not excuse me, you not the fear, but you wouldn't have the centralization of revenge that she was embarking on to get justice for what happened to her father figure. And I kept telling everyone, basically, I thought that Dina was raped by these people and maybe killed, because if you really think about it, or any of the early trailers, you don't see Dina anymore. That's because, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, she got killed or she got raped, and that's what sent Ellie on this spiral of vengeance. But Joe was the one, and I didn't see that shit coming a mile away. Like I was just like I was totally dumbfounded. But the good parts about this game were everything. Like I love the action, I love the suspense. Everything was tightened to the max in this game. You could feel it, like even on some levels where you just trying to go through buildings, like oh shit, there's some monsters. You can either fight your way through, kill everybody, or basically just scrunge around and try to get and find your way out. And I like the adding of the scars, the crazy militant group with the bow and arrows, and with the wolves who are Abby's people. You just got thrown into this different world of all these people in Seattle, and he's like, damn, like I really have to take my hat off to the makers. And they said something was leaked. Like they said, like the early remember they said, I don't know if you guys can remember, but a lot of early part of this game was leaked that that, and I'm glad like I didn't pay any attention to the leaks, because the leaks were true. I heard like the leaks were saying that this Christian group basically is trying to kill them because they're lesbians, and then I heard like Abby's character, who I thought they were saying like was a transsexual and was jealous of Ellie's relationship, and you play half the game as her, and I'm just kind of like, these stories ain't adding up. So I knew something was awry, and I was glad that I didn't pay any attention to those details that were out there. So I'm glad I let them go or didn't read them to them. So like I said, I thought the ending of this game was great. I thought the overall game was perfect. Like it's a masterpiece. To me, I never thought that it would be as good as the first one, but it was. Only bad thing I will say about this game is it does go a little too long. Like there are parts in the game where it's like, yeah, I could have like maybe cut a couple of this parts out where it just kind of like kept going. Even when you're playing with Ellie and then you go playing with Abby, like I wouldn't expect to play with Abby as long as I did, but I get the reason why I did it, because the stories to match up. Like you did day 1 to day 3 with Ellie, so now you had to do day 1 to day 3 with Abby as well to get her story and to see how they come back together. And I was like, oh, okay. But the last part is something like they could have, I don't know, hurried it up a little bit, because after she loses, they go like 7 months of just chilling on the farm. And she goes, well, I have to go get revenge. And then she goes off to get revenge on Abby. And it's just like, they could have cut that, made it a little quicker. So that's the only bad thing I will say, is this game kind of goes a little extra longer than it kind of had to. But like I said, all in all, like the one thing that I do love about is like when you made your weapon upgrades, you actually see them like Like we add an extra clip, they would actually make an extra clip on the workbench. You know, the silencers. I thought the silencers were a good addition. You know, I like I said, I don't know if I'll ever play the game like again like I was doing, but like I played the first one twice. This one though, I loved it. Like to me, this game is the masterpiece. It's doing all good, getting all the praise that it deserves. Because like we've been waiting for this game for 7 years, and the 7 years was worth the wait. So I highly doubt there will be Last of Us Part 3. You know, but to me, like I said, this game was everything. I'm glad I got the collector's edition. So with that said, drop me some comments. Let me guys know who has played this game. Who has finished this game, you know, and what did you guys think of this game? Did you think Last of Us Part 2 was better than Part 1, or did you still like the original better, or what? Drop me some comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Let's have a discussion. Me personally, I love this. I thought it was better than the original. Like a lot of people might not like feel that strongly about it, but I do. Like I said, only bad thing I thought about it was the game could have been just a tad bit shorter. So, but with that said, guys, Mr. Movie X Hicks is out. If you like what you saw, please give me a like. Please give me a subscribe. I would highly appreciate that. And until next time, I'll holler at you guys later.